This is the second week I can't come up with an intro. I got nothing. I make it at a complete loss. And the longer
Live
we
from
sit
the
here,
Bahamas after absconding with the Army-Navy game pool.
man, I just gotta put more work in because no.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't it. I'm not. Father Mulcahy would not abscond with the winnings. He's gonna give it to the orphanage, probably, maybe, or a Swiss bank account. I don't know. Fuck it. I'll come up with something and put it in later. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Best Go Anywhere podcast. Because the longer I sit here and try to think of a intro to the episode, I'm pretty sure Jared's just gonna slowly scooch out of the video frame I see him in and go pet his cat. Am I right in that assessment? And there he goes. And he's back. Now the problem is, and unfortunately the audience will never see this, because he did that, He now has to line his video back up so all the tiny portraits of Ethan are back in their appropriate places. Speaking of our
that is right.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, speaking of our favorite Kansas boy, Ethan, how are you?
I held a possum today.
Oh shit, I forgot about that already.
Needless to say, I am fantastic.
Why? Do I even need to ask?
It's pronounced rabies, not fantastic.
Possums can't get rabies. They're a marsupial.
Yeah, they do not contract.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Damn it. Sorry, you just have some other obscure
we
disease.
Got to correct the nature guy on a nature thing. Victory! I can die happy.
Yeah.
Jared, how are you?
I'm good.
It's Monday.
Yeah. It's Monday.
Monday. Has anything interesting happened in the last 2 weeks?
Ohio.
Oh. And now, okay, I have to ask, is it the phenomenon of once you hear about something in the news, you hear about it for the next 2 months consistently? Or have there been more train derailments in the last month than ever before in my lifetime?
There are about 1,500 train derailments a year. We're just hearing about it more because Ohio is...
We're just hearing about every single train derailment that's going to happen for the rest of the year now. Okay.
To be fair, the three major incidents, one was the East Palestine, Ohio incident. The other one was a truck tipping over in Arizona, I believe. And the third one was a derailment that didn't have any major consequences. So
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're just hearing anytime something gets derailed or has chemical spill, we're going to hear about it for the next year and a half, even if it's not. Because I'm sure, like the truck one, that I don't want to say it's fairly common, but I'm pretty sure it's common enough that it's like not a big deal. But because Palestine happened, it's like no, yes.
That was, I believe, it was the truck that flipped over was leaking nitric acid, I believe. Yeah, the color smoke you see that, you see black smoke, there's a fire. You see this color smoke, they usually just tell you, start running the other direction now and you might be okay.
What color of smoke? I'd like to run away.
But how many trucks
dark orange, red.
How many trucks and trailers and trains that are carrying dangerous chemicals are moving around the country at any given moment?
Oh, constantly.
Not a few.
So one getting into an accident is not.
But even when they get into an accident, they're not designed to,
catastrophically fail.
Catastrophically just spray their incredibly dangerous cargo loads everywhere. That's not.
So what you're saying? We had a one. I don't want to say 1 in a million, but we had an uncommon catastrophic failure truck accident and an uncommon. Well, we'll see. Hopefully continues to be uncommon.
Train derailment.
Catastrophic train derailment. Okay.
Yeah.
Within 2 weeks of each other. Okay.
We are going to see a lot more train derailments in the future.
Yeah. Is that a threat?
That's not a threat. That's just,
You heard it here live, folks. Ethan Wilson single-handedly bringing down the U.S. infrastructure.
Wait. I said it's not. Jared said it is. So
No, I believe, if you rewind the episode, you'll hear exactly what you're supposed to hear, which is the truth.
Which is a minute and a half of silence. Anyway.
Thank God.
So, Jared, I do want to bring up, Jared and Ethan, but mostly Jared because you're closest. We had an interesting I don't want to say conundrum because it really wasn't one, but we had an interesting question we had to answer that I still don't think we have officially.
What's that?
You have 2 free movie passes, and we don't know what movie we're going to go see, do we?
Yeah.
Is there anything worth going to see right now?
Didn't we decide on Oppenheimer?
Well, yeah, but that's months away.
That's not until August, basically. So
yeah, are we? Yeah. I forget. What it's hard to tell because when we're like the big movie release times, it's summer and Christmas, right? Those are the 2 big like
the holidays and summer. Yeah, and that's when.
So are we just in like a dead period right now?
I wouldn't say a dead period, but.
Well, ever since Marvel, every weekend is big opening movie weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like there hasn't been that many like movies I've heard about that seem interesting, or that I am interested in. Really, I don't know.
I saw. Hello, welcome to Marvel Corner on the Best Care Anywhere podcast. I saw an article that said. Quantumania is tied for worst Rotten Tomatoes score Marvel movie with Eternals. Oof. That's the Marvel movie that's going to be introducing the next big bad of this MCU. The guy who's replacing Thanos. Anyway, yeah, we're going to go see Oppenheimer, I think, in, what is that, July?
End of July, yeah.
Man, I gotta wait that long to go watch a good movie.
Hey, maybe the state will burn down by then. Who knows?
No, please don't. No state burning down, anyway.
I'm calling it now, folks. That state's gonna burn down this year.
This has been such an upbeat and positive beginning to the episode.
God, it's such a good episode, too.
Chemical spills and
awesomes.
Doldrum movies. Although I do have Bad Batch to catch up on, so there is that to look forward to.
Yes. Not Marvel, but similar.
Star Wars. Anyway. All right. Well, now that we've gotten the sad out of the way, let's get down to it. Season 1, Episode 20, the Army-Navy game, aired February 25th, 1973. We're at one of those weird periods of the podcast where the episodes in our timeline are going to line up this week and next week. Directed by Gene Reynolds, not adapted for television. The screenplay was written by Sid Dorfman, but the story idea was written by McLean Stevenson. Good old Henry Blake. Which, good. I'm glad. We had Alan Alda last week, and now we have McLean Stevenson this week. So good. Episode opens up. Radar is going collecting money for the football pool. Little random side note that I didn't notice until I read it afterwards. The theme song is a little different this week for the episode. The MASH kind of flips around different versions of the theme season to season, but they go with this one for a few episodes and then they revert back to the old one. Not big news, but I figured I'd mention it.
It is slightly different.
Slightly different. So yeah, Radar's going around collecting football pool money for the Army-Navy game. Father Mulcahy is hesitant to bet because he is a man of the cloth, but he is convinced to by Radar. We see Klinger walking around again in his finest. Legs bare to the world. Look at him go. But we get to new boot goofing. New heel goofing. Everyone's excited for the Army-Navy game, which... have either of you guys ever watched the Army? First of all, backtracking, does anyone here even care about football? Hello, anyone?
There's only one person here that cares about sports ball.
And that's because it might make him money.
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, wait a minute. This is post-Super Bowl. Wilson.
It is.
Yeah.
How was your fantasy season? For all 3 seconds that we're going to care about it.
The fantasy season was okay. I did not finish last. Super Bowl went great because fuck yeah, gotta grab some money off of these fucking Philadelphia fans. Yeah,
go team.
Go sports
ball. Do the thing.
Do the ball.
Win the point. Do the sports.
Do the ball. Win the point.
This is year to year. I've slowly gotten just less and less interested in football. About the only football game I care about year to year is I'll go to Del Oro's homecoming game because my dad's a big sponsor for the Touchdown Club, which is like the VIP seating and barbecue thing that they do. So I'll go with him because it's one, free food, and two, I like the vibe of high school football more, like the band and shit, and seeing people that I haven't seen in a while. But yeah, as far as like big American football TV stuff, don't care, not interested. Yeah. Whatever. The whoever's gonna win is gonna win. Not a big deal to me, but whatever. I might tune into the Army Navy game though, just now that I am more aware of its existence, because that should be fun. But anyway. I would imagine that's kind of the same at MASH. I'm like, they probably wouldn't care about the Army Navy game, but you're stuck in a military unit and have not anything to do except, any excuse to get drunk. There's an episode later in the series where they tune into the Kentucky Derby because we can make mint juleps, I guess. So there is that.
Isn't a mint julep require liquor other than bathtub gin?
Bathtub gin can be... Yeah, that's quitter talk. Bathtub gin can be any... I believe the mint juleps in their show is the bathtub gin and cough syrup. Green cough syrup. So, to stand in for the mint. So, you do what you can.
Old school lean.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That OG gin and juice. Oh, no. Oh, Lord. So, anyway, Henry is attempting to tune in the game. Hawkeye, Trapper, and some nurses are raring to go. They're cheering, and I kind of want Wayne Rogers' scarf in this scene. I don't know why. I just thought of that, but I do.
It's a nice scarf.
Henry almost tunes in the game, but he gets stereotypical communist bad guy radio propaganda.
Calling us imperial dogs.
Yeah, imperious running dogs.
It's actually very polite for them,
Very polite, yes. Radar comes in. He's collected the $1,000 for the pool. Klinger comes in to listen to the game. Father Mulcahy comes in, excited to root for Notre Dame, realizes that Notre Dame isn't playing, and is like, then why is everyone so excited?
Poor Father Mulcahy. He's
so stereotypically Irish and Catholic. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Radar, however, is not paying attention to the start of the game because Radar be sensing some things and bombs start falling in the camp.
Radar's spidey senses going off. Yeah.
Yeah, Radar spidey senses. Deus Ex Radar. We need that on our shirt. Radar. Deus Ex Radar. So yeah, this is the first time we see the camp under fire, I believe.
I think it is.
At least, maybe we've heard explosions in the background, but this is the first time the camp has had to attempt to go about its business while being fired upon, which will be a recurring theme because I don't know if you guys have noticed. It's been hinted at. They're in a war zone.
Aren't they?
I don't know if you picked up on that yet.
What? I thought they were in Southern California.
Bullshit out of thin air, yeah.
They might be.
You can't prove it.
You can't prove it. I mean, we can literally go to where they... Anyway.
You can't prove it. Look, it's impossible.
We're being shelled. Conveniently, headquarters calls them to let them know that they're under enemy attack.
Which, classic military intel right there.
Keep on top of it, guys. You're doing a great job.
You're doing the Lord's work, even.
Yep, Henry and Radar are going to command from the office and try to get the situation figured out. The doctors return to the post-op to help the patients get hunkered down, which, I mean, they put mattresses on top of the patients. I'm sure that'll stop something. Yeah, you got to, some stuff will work. Frank and Margaret are never a dull moment with Frank and Margaret. They are fawning for each other, even in the midst of imminent peril. You gotta love that. Henry, unfortunately, the office takes a direct hit, which I love. I love the thought that McLean Stevenson, when writing out this episode, wrote this scene in for himself, because it seems just so remarkably entertaining. Him walking in, covered in dust, cut on his forehead, holding what's left of the phone, just going, Hello, operator, we've been cut off. Mildred, are you there? I love it. And then
Henry.
the whole rest of the scene, while they're being fired upon and taking cover, you just hear McLean Stevenson in the background. Hello?
Hello?
I love it. Frank attempts to take charge, which
naturally.
He is well within his right to take charge because he is the ranking officer.
Mm-hmm.
He also just so happens to be a prick.
He also interrupts Hawkeye trying to actually coordinate some sort of response to the situation, because apparently Hawkeye being level-headed and trying to deal with the situation is a threat to Frank's
masculinity.
In-chargeness, yeah. Masculinity. Yeah, Frank is my least favorite type of boss or manager, where it's like, I'm in charge, so I have to be in the know and decision making on everything, where it's like, no, you just need to like pay attention to what's going on and make sure it's generally going in the direction it should, and let the people who know what they're doing or who are wanting to take action and get shit done, because you're just in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say no more than that here, because I got to give you a list with names, dates, locations of all the previous managers I've worked for that are like that. So in the midst of Frank and Hawkeye arguing, we hear the bomb drop whistle.mp3. They all dive to the deck, and we hear a nice, lovely thump. Long bit of silence. And then we come to realize there is an unexploded bomb in the compound. As Trapper says, either something that didn't happen is gonna, or something that did happen did, or something along those lines. I don't know what he said. It was very cryptic.
Something's going to happen at some point.
Something is going to happen at some point. Maybe. Possibly. Could be happening right now. But Hawkeye goes to investigate, and there is an unexploded bomb just in the middle of the compound, which is less than ideal. They get a call from command headquarters saying that they are under attack, which, again, yeah, pretty obvious.
Thank you, Laterally Intelligence. Very cool.
Yeah, thank you. Very cool. Hawkeye lets them know, hey, we have an unexploded bomb. Not great. We need to know what to do about it. Is it a colonel, major? I don't know who he's talking to. I think it's a colonel. Yeah, it's a colonel.
I was going to ask you if you could tell by his chest candy or his uniform how mouthy he gets.
Shoulders. Silver Eagles are colonels.
Colonel Hirsch.
Colonel Hirsch.
Well, I guess he has some experience mouthing off to colonels with, Henry around, but...
Hawkeye... you can't blame Hawkeye. He's not one for military correctness, but it doesn't matter. He's letting the person know, hey, there is an unexploded bomb sitting in the middle of our, hospital with patients. Maybe we should coordinate on doing something about that. I think that's a fair...
Do you have any stethoscopes there? We're a medical unit. I had not laughed that hard at this show
Send
before.
your best doctors.
That'd be... Yeah, that would be like them saying some sort of emergency is happening at camp. We call the, Amador County Sheriff, and they're like, do you have any rope? We're a scout camp! Yes! We have rope! We have teenagers, we have knives, we have so many things. But
any sticks?
You got No, that's even better. Do you guys have any spare lumber? Spare wood? Can you build a fire? We're in the middle of a forest, sir. Yes, we're well aware.
And you do not take care of the forest, and you will not let us take care of the forest.
That's not Amador County Sheriff's fault. Don't blame them.
Yeah, I shouldn't blame them. And
you just like blaming the government in general.
I just like blaming anyone other than myself, because as long as it's somebody else's fault, it's not mine.
Oh, lordy.
Ethan Wilson, 2023.
I'm putting that on a t-shirt.
So they're instructed to go out, write down any markings, serial numbers, anything like that the bomb may have on it, and to get back to them preferably at halftime. Frank and Hawkeye are discussing this, and Hawkeye looks at Frank and says, well, you're going to go do it, right? That's not something you can command another person to do, which,
Yep.
Yes, you should. there's a 50-50. Could Frank order someone more capable than himself to do it? Yes. Should he? Probably. But also there is something to be said, and again, Captain goes down with the ship type stuff. Like, yes, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it. Yes, I think there's a time and place for leaders to fall on the sword, but then there's also something to be said for, hey, maybe there's someone more qualified than me that, yes, they're going to go do something dangerous, but there's a greater chance of success if they go do it. So we're gonna do that instead. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that it's entirely fair to tell Frank that he needs to go do it, but also it's Frank, so why do we care?
Yeah, I mean, they do go on to draw straws, and
yeah.
What do you know? Frank gets the short one.
Yep, Frank gets the short one. So Frank draws the short straw, and for a second, and I love Larry Linville's a treasure. I love
he is.
He's holding the paper and pencil, and he's like, I just need a moment to compose myself, always before a crisis.
Always.
There.
See? Fine.
And then just
bravely steps forward.
Oh, and then of course, Hawkeye, being our leading man, he is the one to go and check on the bomb. I never understood why he's wearing just his socks. Like, how much more vibration?
Crunch. I mean, they didn't really tell. They didn't really tell him, did they? Just said no vibration, no loud noise. He's not a military man. He just knows that the bombs go boom.
Him walking on the ground is going to make the same seismic activity whether he's wearing socks or boots. He's the same weight and density.
Yes, but it's softer. It's softer. Less crunch, more squish.
All right.
That is the logic the scriptwriters went with. I'm just going off of that.
And they're whispering around it and shit. That I get, because sound is...
You gotta talk to it like a scared puppy. Like a scared puppy.
I usually just yell at puppies.
What the hell? Anyway, glossing over that, we get the return of creepy Scooby-Doo music. I know we were all looking forward to that. Creepy Scooby-Doo music. Which, yeah, I just thought about the Velma show, and I don't want to.
We should move on past.
Yeah.
We should just move on past that.
So Hawkeye is listening for if the mechanisms of the bomb are still ticking, and cue Colonel Henry Blake kicking the door open and screaming for radar. Hawkeye shushes him. Who are you shushing? What are you doing out here in your stocking feet? I'm inspecting a bomb. What kind of bomb? An unexploded bomb.
Oh.
And I love that that's enough to like bring Henry back to like focus. Like he's no longer dazed and confused. Like, oh, I'm in imminent danger. Like,
yes,
that kind of bomb. Hawkeye determines the bomb is still ticking. They call in the serial number into the Colonel Hirsch, and he says, nope, not one of ours. Check with the Navy. Which, okay, why would the Navy be bombing them? Apparently it's because... Well, according to the Colonel, it's because they're beating them at the game, but hey, I don't know. Moving on. We get a nice little, I believe this scene was cut in syndication, Father Mulcahy and Corporal Klinger are having a little interaction.
They are.
Klinger is in his finest suit, for once, because he wants people to see him dressed in a nice suit if he were to die, as opposed to a dress. And he wanted to make it very clear to the priest that the dress wearing had nothing to do with his own personal life choices. It was purely to get out of the army, and that there is absolutely no other reason. Unless the bomb doesn't go off, and then I'm Nutsy Fagin and don't tell anyone. I ate
the eye chart. I licked the doctor's ear.
I jammed his letter opener into my heel.
I ate the eye chart.
But Klinger does say something, and it's such a little side scene, but it's something that's going to be repeated with his character. His reason for not wanting to be in the army is very straightforward, and it's the same reasoning every time it's brought up. he was raised to respect life, and that's hard to do in a war zone. Because again, reminder, he's working in a hospital, but he is essentially an infantryman also. He pulls guard duty. He has a responsibility to discharge his firearm if the enemy approaches. So, yeah, I can understand Klinger's unwillingness. But we then get, I believe we get... Scene skip forward. We get the Chief of Naval Operations, played by John A. Z. Z spelled Z-E-E. He is an actor who was prolific, again, around the time MASH was around. His only role on MASH is this Director of Naval Operations, but he's also known for Cannonball Run 2. Are you familiar with the Cannonball Run movies, Ethan?
I'm familiar with the first movie, more familiar with the real-life event it's based off of.
I figured.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered doing a Cannonball Run?
I need a lot more money. Yes, I have. So here's the long and the short of it. For the uninitiated, the Cannonball Run is you have to drive from New York to Los Angeles as quickly as humanly fucking possible. Burt Reynolds did an amazing movie about it. The only true part about that movie is, yes, they did it in an old ambulance with the idea that if an ambulance with lights is going, you aren't going to get fucked with. But
they were committing full-on crimes. Oh
yeah, that was legit. They also had somebody in the back of it groaning because they did get pulled over and they just talked their way out of it.
Jesus.
But I'm getting off track.
I guess of the 3 emergency vehicles to impersonate ambulance, it's probably the least will get you in trouble.
And also the easiest.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, to do this during COVID, these crazy sons of bitches broke the 24-hour threshold. I mean, we're talking driving from New York to LA in less than a day. I don't think it'll ever be repeated.
What's your average speed have to be to do that?
About 120, including stops, which means
you were averaging at least over 130.
Yeah.
Moving speed. What the actual
Most of these guys put fucking gas tanks from RVs in their trunks so they can carry about 40 gallons of fuel so they don't have to stop very much. But that also means when they stop, they're stopped for a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. I didn't know you could possibly do it that quickly. How do they not? How does a cop in Pennsylvania not stop these guys, and then a APB goes out for the entire Route 50? Because I imagine Highway 50 would be the most highway you take because it's a direct link from the east to west. I don't know. How does it you not pull them over once and then every sheriff's department from the Mississippi to the West Coast know that you're coming?
So the serious guys will use blocker cars. Guys go about an hour before and scope it out and report back on where you have to slow down. But they also have a lot of electronic countermeasures like radar jammers, which are very illegal. There's a special type of powder you can put on your headlights and other reflective surfaces so the radar can't pick you up as easy. There's a lot.
What the actual hell? I knew about the Cannonball Run. I didn't know it was that.
It's an arms race between the police trying to detect them and the Cannonball Runners trying to do it even faster.
I can't remember what video it's from. It's so you get an ad blocker, but then Google comes up with an ad blocker. So the ad blockers have to come up with ad blockers.
But with cars and gas tanks.
Jesus. Yeah, under that, I was not expecting you to say under 24 hours. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, how did we get here? John Z, the Secretary of Naval Operations. Anyway. God. Okay. So they call Naval Operations. Navy Ops is going to try to look up the bomb for them. In the meantime, try not to die, apparently, is the best advice that they can get. Mm-hmm. We have Frank and Margaret.
Oh, Frank.
Frank and Marge. They are enjoying what might be their last hours together. Frank says had they met in another time, in another place, it would have been nice. Margaret responds with, just nice, Frank? And Frank has to up it. How can he possibly describe what their relationship could have been like other than nice? If they had met not in a war zone and Frank wasn't married and they could pursue a life together. Well, Frank thinks that would have just been nifty.
Just nifty.
Just nifty.
To make a grown man cry.
And Margaret's eyes water and she swoons. Oh God, I hate them, but I love them so much. So much. It's so bad.
Margaret had it real rough there in the war.
Yeah, being stuck to Frank. We get another. I like these little side scenes we're getting between, like, we've had a couple with Father Mulcahy and Klinger, and then we've had a couple with Henry and Radar. And Henry has a scene with Radar where he's explaining when he was in college, he was one of the medical team for the football team, and during one of the big final game of the season, he had to tape up Butcher Pelasco's leg so he could finish the game. He because he hurt it, and he took off running for the next play and hit the ground screaming. And Radar's like, oh, he was tackled. Henry, nope, I taped the wrong leg. To this day, Butcher Pelasco still comes to my house and shoots out the porch light every Thanksgiving. He's a judge now. Or Tank Washington, whatever. And shoots out the porch light. I love the little side scenes we get with Ray. I think this was also cut in syndication, if I remember my notes right. Oh, stop everything. Go, stop. I think so. Stop everything.
Okay.
I'm going to take you guys way back. I'm going to take you guys way back. Okay. Way back.
Way back.
Mm-hmm.
The first episode of the podcast, the pilot episode.
Okay.
We had a small argument over what the hell that silver thing was on Henry's desk. Was it an ashtray? Was it some sort of wash bin?
God.
It is a piston. Is it not? Because the same thing's in the shot when he's telling Radar the story. I saw this. That is
Zoom
a giant.
Enhance.
That's like a giant diesel engine piston. Is that not? It's got the ring, the grooves cut for the oil slick rings. Am I right, Ethan? You're a car person. Help.
I'm looking it up. Fuck.
It's sitting in front of the bottle of brandy.
Yep. Oh God. I don't know.
Look at it. Find where they are looking at Radar, not at Henry.
I'm looking at it. Here's what's screwing with me.
Mm-hmm.
Most pistons I know of only have 3 oil rings.
Mm-hmm.
That could absolutely be different in diesel engines. I'm not a diesel mechanic, but I'm going to go with a solid maybe with a promise to do research.
So here's why I say it's that you have the ring grooves, and then if you look at it from where it's looking at Henry, you can see the 2 insets for where the pin would go through to attach it to the piston rod.
Yeah, that is a much better photo than the one Hulu had. That is definitely the top of a piston.
Yep. Woo!
Yep.
We figured it out. I don't know why. I saw it while I was watching the episode. I'm like, this is unimportant and trivial. We must talk about it. And if you think that's the only time if you think that's the only time this episode we're going to go off on a tangent about a thing that appears in a scene one time, oh boy, just wait a few minutes.
We just did that for an actor in a completely unrelated movie.
On a similarly related note, one of my favorite reoccurring props in the show that we'll see are the set of football shoulder pads that Radar is wearing. I'm pretty sure we see them on and off all the way through to the end of the show. They're just one of those props, and you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think that absolutely somewhere on the Malibu Creek set there was just a prop closet.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I mean, probably.
Yeah, just like we need like the science closet where they get all the science for the science scenes. There's just a prop closet of, we need Radar to look all padded out like he's protected from a bomb. Can you go grab one of the M1 helmets and the shoulder pads we keep in the top closet? Anyway, speaking of Radar, he has an opportunity to use the bomb to his advantage and tell a nurse that he has, and I quote, admired you from below.
Because she's so Radar.
But first he says, I have a confession I'd like to make, and then Father Mulcahy, as he's going through the door, give me just a moment. And he runs
I'll be
inside.
right with you. Just,
I love it's such a dumb joke, but I love it so much. I'll be right with you. He
for
says,
months now, I have worshipped you from below.
Oh, Radar.
So,
I thought that maybe, you know, with the bomb and all, we could go check out the supply tent together. Eyeball twitch. Which, my man Radar, he must have learned something from the love story episode, because this nurse is like immediately, yes, let's go. And even Radar looks surprised as he's being dragged away, like, okay.
He even says, I wish I could wink. You don't need to.
Oh, you don't need to, Radar.
Oh, Radar.
So, in the context of his first joke, do you think Radar is belittling himself, or do you think he's admitting that he crawls underneath the planks of the...
He's short.
Oh.
He's short. We're not going anywhere else, but...
See, that's the old Radar. We know that Radar's gone. He doesn't exist anymore.
That Radar, he's like, currently Radar is like in a chrysalis. He's not quite a caterpillar, but he's not quite a butterfly yet.
He's just a nice chrysalis of...
He's in the middle of... He's right between naive farm boy Radar and I'm going to smoke Henry cigars and drink his brandy Radar, as he was literally doing the scene before this.
Mm-hmm.
Ugly John's here. Woo!
He is. Woo-hoo.
Ugly John.
Yeah.
Trapper and he's gone. He, Trapper, and Hawkeye are playing high-stakes poker for $1,000 chips, $5,000 chips, and $25,000 chips. Unless the bomb doesn't go off, and then they're a quarter, 50 cents, and $1. Which, yeah.
They get the call. They get
the call back from. I miss poker nights. We need a poker night
very soon.
Yeah. I mean, you're in Kansas.
Side note: there's now a new activity in Discord, so you can play poker nights natively in Discord. All right, continue.
I know what we're doing after this. Ferb, I know what we're gonna do tonight.
Ferb, I know what we're doing tonight.
Phineas and that man, I kind of want to go back and watch Phineas and Ferb now.
Oh, please don't say that. I will.
That's such a good show. Normalize adults going back and watching cartoons from their childhood. I like that. Anyway, Henry gets a call back from the chief of naval operations, and he knows whose bomb it is. It belongs to the CIA. Woo! Because, government organizations.
Of course it does.
All hail the alphabet boys. So the CIA is dropping bombs on MASH units because, the government. I don't know why
military intelligence.
I don't know why I'm sounding like such a sovereign citizen this episode. So, also, if you're a sovereign citizen, please stop. You're not as important as you think you are. They probably have. I don't know. I cringe whenever I see like the sovereign citizen videos where they just like hold up the notepad on the window that says, "I'm a sovereign citizen. You do not deserve to see my ID. I know my rights under the Constitution. The government's illegitimate."
My ID. And then your ID that you got from who?
And then they get tased for having 7 illegal guns in the car and not cooperating with police. It's always fun to watch. It's great.
Always a good time.
Yeah. Sir, you just killed an elk in the public park. The government's boundaries don't mean anything to me. All right, whatever.
I've not entered into a contract with you.
The closest person to a sovereign citizen that's actually funny is Ron Swanson's character from Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec. But anyway. So they have to defuse the CIA's bomb. Henry has the instructions. He has he's been told how the bomb is supposed to be defused, what their time frame is. So the surgeons Does the military have bomb disposal? Do they have EOD? Like, it's the 50s, not 1647. Don't they have people for this?
It's a mass unit and the game's on.
Yeah.
But the plot.
They have stethoscopes. Those little round thingy jobbers.
They have stethoscopes and mattresses.
With the things. Yeah. I don't know about mattresses, but they have stethoscopes.
They may not have. Oh boy. So Hawkeye and Trapper grab the tools, grab the mattresses, take a drink. One of the few times so far in the podcast that I've actually, because I've been analytically kind of paying more very close fine-tooth attention to the episode, I actually heard a line I'd never realized was there before. Henry tells them, just defuse it, then run like hell. And as they're walking out of the room, Hawkeye goes, but with dignity.
But with dignity.
I've never, I don't know if I've just never, like, not subconsciously, consciously been aware of that line, but this is the first time I heard it and processed that it existed, and I just thought it was hilarious. But with dignity. They go to defuse the bomb. Radar, Margaret, Frank, and Henry are in the foxhole fortified by sandbags with a loudspeaker to relay the instructions. Hawkeye and Trapper creep up to the bomb, and Henry starts relaying the instructions. 1/4 turn on the locking nut, rotate the locking nut, halfway counterclockwise. And Henry is not to blame for the pursuing chain of events. Whoever wrote those damn instructions, who writes instructions in paragraph form? Do this and this, but before this, do that. Like, what moron is writing instructions like that? The instructions to put my new office chair together were better planned out than those. 1, do this. 2, do this. 3, do this. Congratulations, you've defused CIA bomb. What? God damn it, CIA. I blame the CIA.
Props to the props team, behind the scenes, because they good job on making a bomb. One little thing, it's just so clean.
It's a very clean bomb.
So clean. It's they painted it a beautiful slate military gray. Love that. That seems very accurate. But it's just so. I mean, I will say it's kind of funny that it landed like perfectly vertical. That is kind of funny that they just.
Oh yeah, bombs do weird things if they don't explode. They skip. They embed themselves. Yeah. Oh, it's so weird what bombs do. I do believe what?
They might start speaking in tongues. Like
they could start speaking in tongues. It's possible. I do believe though the correct military paint job would have been OD green with yellow nose markings to delineate the tonnage of the bomb or weight of the bomb. At least that's what they did in World War II. Like,
would it also have had like a shark mouth on it?
No.
Damn.
The bombs would typically... So in World War II, at least, what they would do is green bombs, OD green, because everything in the military was OD green unless it was the Navy. But even then, the bombs were still OD green because they were standardized. And I believe, don't quote me on this, they would put yellow rings on the nose. So, like, the nose would get a yellow tip, but then they would have concentric rings going out from the nose to delineate. So, like, one dot would be... A ring would be a 100-pound bomb. A dot in a ring was 250. A dot in 2 rings was 300. Or 500 or something like that. I don't know if that's 100% true, but it's something I saw somewhere once, so I'm going to repeat it here factually because that's what you do on the internet. Yeah. But anyway, so they're defusing the bomb. Henry is giving clear, concise instructions, at least he thinks. And then they cut the fuse wires, and then Henry says, but first... Before you do any of that, remove the fuse. And I love all... What are there? Frank, Margaret, Henry... All 6 of the actors in this moment are fantastic. Frank and Margaret are just astonished. Radar is terrified, and Henry is beside himself. Oh. I love the camera shot where he just looks up at them, mouth agape, and just drops the notepad and megaphone. Just... I
just rewatched this scene in .8 speed, so it was just a slightly more slow motion. It's just delicious. Also, since we were talking about bombs in the descriptions earlier, I believe they're still doing a thing with Ukraine that you can, donate to receive to the Ukrainian army, and they'll like put whatever you want on ordnance.
They'll
write
for you. Whatever you want on them.
Yeah, I saw a lovely picture that just said, oh god, like Adam and Jessica got married this day and date. Slava Ukraini.
I hate. Dude,
the future is now, old man.
Do you remember like 2 or 3 years ago we were joking how weird and cringy the Third World War is going to be? Like there's going to be memes, there's going to be TikToks from the front lines, there's going to be like anime fan art on the side noses of bombers. Man, I hate this timeline.
Man. Yeah.
Why do you think I'm getting into art now so I can design the anime art for the B-12s?
On that note, I am absolutely going to donate for a bomb to have the message "So long, ferret face" written on it.
So long, ferret face. So long, you hermaphroditic weasel.
Either that or the entire B-movie script. Anyway.
I would want to make someone engrave that onto that. No, that's too much. It's too much.
Well, they probably
I just say the first
letter,
couple
right?
lines. The first couple lines.
Nah, the missile knows where it is. Anyway. Everyone who's not a millennial listening to this episode right now is like, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah, they are not going to listen to the next one.
Internet culture.
Internet culture.
Such
and
a weird
modern warfare. What a strange pairing of... I hate this timeline. Anyway, where did we go wrong?
Education.
I said it yesterday. I think nothing's been the same since Robin Williams died, but anyway, has nothing to do with this episode. Moving on. So, the bomb's going to explode. Hawkeye and Trapper dive out of the way. The music ramps up, and then, boom, confetti everywhere. Turns out, the bomb the CIA dropped was not an explosive bomb. It was a propaganda bomb with papers saying that you can't win, surrender, MacArthur.
Yep.
Now, are you guys have snacks and a beverage? Have you peed? Are you ready? Because here we
are you genuinely asking? Because I'll go grab another drink.
You may
Okay, I'm ready.
So the flyers that poof out of that bomb, they have things. Oh my
god,
they do.
They do. And I've always wondered, like, that's not just blank paper. They're firing something out of that cannon. I'm like, man, I wonder if anyone's freeze framed and tried to see what's on one of those papers. And I'm like, I'll take a second, and because I won't lie to you guys, I don't know everything about MASH. I pull up the Monster MASH fan wiki just to make sure there's not any little fun facts I'm missing. And I'll pull up the IMDb so I know I'm quoting things about the actors of the episode correctly, because I am not a bottomless pit of knowledge. But I was surprised to learn that, man, not anywhere does it say what, like, oh, fun fact, these flyers were left over on set, or they got them from a Kinko's, or it actually says this. So I looked it up, and I don't know if you guys have found a suitable freeze frame, but there is a flyer, and it said the only words I could make out on it are Ace Eli.
Yep.
So I typed that into Google, Ace Eli, and scrolled, and there is a movie that came out in 1973, late 1973, from Fox Studios called Ace Eli and Roger of the Skies. It is a film about a pilot in the early days of aviation who does little air shows and travels around the country with his son, and it's kind of a coming of age. It takes place in the 1920s. It's just one of those like small town feel good coming of age father son good timey movies. And I'm like, okay, why are these flyers in there? Those flyers are the flyers that are in the movie promoting Ace, the dad, Ace Eli, and his traveling little air show. So someone just said, we need flyers. Oh, they printed about 7,000 of these damn things for this movie we're producing. So yeah, just shoot some of those out of your cannon for the movie. And I'm going to send you guys a picture. And I want, because I'm pretty sure I found the right thing, but I want you guys to, see and correct me if I'm wrong. Ace, Eli, and Roger in the skies. I forgot to pull this up in another tab, so give me just a second. It's easy because you're beautiful.
I'm going through frame by frame now just to see.
So when Hawkeye and Trapper are laying on the ground as they're landing, you can see some of them pretty clearly, or clearly enough for our purposes. So tell me, is that the same flyer?
Hang on. Almost got a wonderful freeze frame.
Now, the one I sent you is a reproduction. It is not a shot from the movie.
Fly with Ace Eli, last chance. I believe it is.
Oh, wait a minute. Just to confirm that I am insane and went way too deep down a rabbit hole for this, here's a screenshot from the movie.
Yep, it looks very similar.
Now,
very similar.
Wait, is he charging 4 cents per pound? he charges airplane rides by the weight of the passenger. I love it. Okay, that makes sense though.
Based.
Last chance. Fly with Ace Eli. Safe and sane. Long rides, 3 cents a pound. See your city from the air. All flights guaranteed safe. Mechanically safe. A high altitude ride is 4 cents per pound. Enables you to see the entire city. Last chance for airplane rides. No stunt flying with passengers. So I'm not going to say that I'm the only human that has ever noticed and discovered this, but I'm surprised with how deep people have gone into some of the extras on shows, little comments or inaccuracies in the shows that no one that I've found has made that little connection. So this is one of my favorite parts of the podcast so far, is going down these little rabbit holes and being like, what's this about? What's going on here? So thank you for indulging my little tangent. Oh wait, there was one more little thing about this movie that I was just saying, oh, it's related to this movie and here's how, yada yada yada. But then I started reading more about this movie in the little did you know part of IMDb, and I'm going to share this with you. The director of Ace Eli and Roger of the Skies, sorry, was where'd it go? I just had it. I scrolled too far. Was John Erman. The writers were Claudia Salter and Steven Spielberg. Did you know, fun fact about this movie, Steven Spielberg created the original story for this film and intended it to be his feature directorial debut. But 20th Century Fox assigned the film to another director, and Spielberg was so incensed that he swore he would never make a film for Fox, a promise that he kept until Minority Report in 2002, a co-production between Fox and his studio, DreamWorks.
That is awesome.
So by hyperfixating on this flyer for 45 minutes this evening, we unearthed some Steven Spielberg trivia. So I think at some point I might need to watch Ace Eli and Roger of the Skies.
I got a perfect frame of one passing by Henry's head, and that is exactly what it is.
Awesome.
Too. Because I can make out the fly, I can make out the plane. Goddamn.
Nice. Yeah. Snap a little screenshot of that so I can include it in the in the show. So yeah, they defuse the bomb. Flyers rain forth from the heavens. MacArthur is encouraging the North Koreans to surrender, and everyone is now safe and probably slightly annoyed, but hey, they didn't blow up, so yay.
They didn't blow up. It's a good day.
Navy won the game. Father Mulcahy, of course, won all the money. as he should. Radar lost all his money and was ripping up his betting slip. But don't worry, Radar has newfound confidence with the ladies, so he is going to make his move on nearby Nurse. Little does he know, it is our favorite, our voluptuous, our ever sexy Corporal Klinger. And my God, great work by Jamie Farr and the shot direction and the cameraman, because unless you know or are paying real close attention to the fact that nurse has the hairiest wrists known to man, for a second you could have been fooled that it was a lady. So
he does cut a rather nice figure.
You said it, not me.
I did say it, and I stand by it.
You're sitting.
I'm glad that you're secure in your masculinity.
Oh, I'm incredibly insecure. I just view JB Farr as a never mind.
Anyway.
All right.
Ace Eli and Roger of the Skies was filmed in Kansas, by the way. Anyway.
Oh, now I have to watch it.
So that long rambling discussion we just had was about Season 1, Episode 20, the Army-Navy game. What do you guys think? How are we feeling about the Army-Navy game?
Overall, it's a good episode, I think. I think it's a pretty good episode. You know?
I think so. It's a little goofy, but not in a
terrible way.
Not in a Edwina or...
Oh, God, no.
It's not Hogan's Heroes goofy. It's very much MASH goofy. There's stakes, but they're ridiculous stakes. The only shade I'll give is MASH does have a tendency in some episodes to make the military seem incredibly incompetent, which, yes, the military intelligence, all that jazz, the necessity of America to constantly be waging war is a thing that can be discussed, but sometimes it's a little unbelievable how incompetent they make the military sometimes, and this is they're for me they're on the edge of that in this episode, but it's all good. It's a goofy episode. I love the comedy's hitting, the actors are on point, so I dig it. I dig it very much. But what would you guys say?
I'm curious to see how many shots they did or how many takes they did of the flyers exploding out of the cannon that was hitting at the bomb. I wonder how many times they got to do that or had to do that. Yeah. I don't know. That's just such an interesting shot because I'm assuming they had plenty of those flyers. Plenty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
no, I thought it was an overall good episode. Good premise, nice premise, entertaining. Goofy, not too goofy. Yeah, I'd give it a solid 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Solid 4.5.
4.5 out of 5. Ethan, what about
Enjoyable.
you?
Classic MASH.
I gotta say, I think I said this very briefly at the beginning, but I have not laughed this hard at an episode of MASH in a long time. Alan Alda is once again proving that he has the acting cut out for this kind of serialized drama. When he's yelling back and forth at Frank, that is some quality work on his part. And not only that, I think the comedy, his physical comedy with the nurses is on point. I mean, taking one hostage with the stapler was just funny as hell to me.
I think my favorite Alan Alda line this episode is when Frank goes, "We need to evacuate ourselves," and he just looks at Frank and goes, "I think I already did."
Way ahead of you there, bucko.
So to all that end, funny, good chops. I'm gonna say 4.7.
Ooh, all right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It might be the highest I've rated an episode this season, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But it's definitely probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite so far.
It is, in fact, an episode you've rated.
Yeah.
No, well, here, I'll give my rating and go through the audience, and then I have things to say, because we are 4 episodes away from the end of season 1, which is both awesome and like, ooh, we've been doing this podcast for a little bit, and then I realized there's 10 more seasons.
You're stuck with me for a while, bucko.
No, you guys are stuck with me and my love for this show for a while. You've signed contracts. No, you haven't.
Don't tell them.
I'm legally obligated to say they have not signed anything. They are not under any sort of forced agreement. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to give this episode, I really like it. I'm going to give it a 4.2. I really like it. It's fun. It's exciting. It's up there. Yeah, I think it's a good example of MASH being funny without being, like I said, being goofy, being silly. Like Alan Alda said, he did not want this to be a comedy set in the front lines. He wanted it to be fun and engaging, but also have the ability to be like, yeah, I mean, we're in a war zone. There's bombs exploding. This is not normal. It's funny because we made it funny, but really it's not good.
It's funny, but it's really not funny. But it is.
But it's not. On that note, let's go to some audience.
Let's hear what they have to say. Yeah.
I do have a couple quick comments from the last episode. I forgot to read at the beginning.
By all means.
Chad Smith. He really enjoyed all the scout camp and scout outing stories from the last episode. I agree.
Don't tell us that.
It was nice to just kind of naturally go into those stories because of the episode giving us the opportunity to. He
you
just wanted to mention,
dog, you caught me monologuing.
Exactly. He says, loving all the scout camp talk in this episode, which likely means you're now connecting with a target audience of 1, meaning him. He says his home camp was Camp Tamarack in southern Michigan, aka Wood Lake Scout Reservation. Both his boys attended that camp too, which was very special to him. Regarding the legal chain of custody of the Long Johns, this was something we debated. Radar did give them freely and willingly to the cook.
He did.
We didn't establish whether the leg of lamb was truly the cook's property to offer in trade.
Yeah, was it? Or did somebody already have prior claim by that leg of lamb being made specifically for them by the cook in a prior arrangement?
If the cook was the cook of his own restaurant, I would say the leg of lamb absolutely is his. He made it. He cooked it. But where did he get the leg of lamb? He's in the military. It had to be requisitioned from a supply depot. Yeah,
the quartermaster always wins in the end.
The quartermaster always wins. Keep the quartermaster happy. I don't know. We're gonna have to get some judge advocate. We're gonna have to get JAG involved in this. The judge advocate general is gonna have to weigh in. But Donut Eater mentioned he wanted to clarify. He mentioned in his review of the last episode he didn't like how the show ended. He didn't mean the appendix bursting part of Henry's ordeal. He meant just in general the kind of goofy, everyone sneezing, and that when the episodes end like that, emphasizing all the crazy stuff
at the end.
Those endings of the episode, he says, never really worked for him. He's also glad. He's also looking forward to us discussing more derisive episode or divisive aspects of the show. Sorry, I misspoke because we're coming up on some episodes at the end of the season and in season 2 and some in the far future. He says that he can't wait to hear us discuss some of the more interesting parts of Alan Alda and Hawkeye's character and some of the weird moral corners they back our characters into. And he brought this up because, again, that was the first episode directed by or written by Alan Alda, and he is responsible for a lot of the episodes that kind of push those lines. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. We just got to get through the silly Edwina and Long John and bomb exploding in camp episodes before we get to the nitty gritty. But anyway, this week's episode, Chief Smash Forever says 4 out of 5. Very funny with some original ideas. Love the opening scenes when Father Mokay comes in and asks about Notre Dame with his little flag. The bomb scenes are the best part, especially the cutting the wires bit and the final explosion, which comes out, is very funny. Donut Eater says the episode showing the characters this is the first episode of the characters having to work under fire, a trope that he loves. I agree. We get some very good, I think Deluge is the one I like the best that we're going to get in a couple seasons. It's just an episode where they're under fire and they're working, and you just get nice little character moments for everyone as they go about their very, very stressful week. There are better examples later on, and while it loses a bit on rewatch, the part with the bomb is a good blend of tension and comedy. And Chad Smith says 4.3 out of 5. Great example of the classic early season humor. Henry reading the diffusing instructions out of order is priceless. And as a lifelong Notre Dame fan, I 100% agree with Father Mulcahy's take. Who cares if it's not Notre Dame?
Absolutely. And Notre Dame kicks so much ass that they should have feet.
Anyway. Notre Dame is where
the Fighting Irish by kicking the Klan out of their hometown, which is fucking rad.
Oh yeah, I forgot that that's how they got their name.
Yep.
Isn't that also that's when the movie Rudy takes place, right? It's Notre Dame.
I believe so.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I like that movie. So yeah, that is the Army-Navy game. Now there are a couple things I need to point out before we close out this episode. Number one, the next episode is obviously season 1, episode 21, Sticky Wicket. I'm very excited for that episode because, as I've told you guys, and now I get to tell the audience, we have another guest joining us on that show, pending any technological impediments or global catastrophes. We are going to be joined by Mick Jameson, aka This Lightsaber Kills Fascists.
Ooh,
I'm perfectly safe then. Good.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Anyway, he'll be joining us to talk about Sticky Wicket. I also said we are 4 episodes away from the end of season 1. That's 2 months in podcast recording time, but it will go by quick. So I wanted to point out to everyone, in addition to giving us your rankings for all the episodes, even if you have missed previous episodes, you can go back and message us, find the tweets where we mentioned that episode.
Well, Twitter's still a thing.
Email us, tweet at us, whatever. If you want to rate episodes that maybe you joined the podcast a little late and are catching up, feel free to send us ratings up until we do the end of season wrap up. So we'll do the last 4 episodes, and then the very end, we'll do kind of a season 1 recap. That'll be the deadline to get in ratings. So you have plenty of time. In addition to that, if you have any questions, comments about season 1 in general, start thinking about them. If there are things that you think we didn't discuss, or questions about the show that you want our answers to, comments, stories, soliloquies, interpretive dance numbers, whatever, send them to us so we can discuss them on the show. That's the whole point of us doing the podcast, so we can get all the feelings out, get all the MASH feelings out in the open.
I'm only interested in haikus.
I have been working on a breakdance about why Frank is a shitbird for breaking the stin, so...
The what?
The still. The
there
still,
we go.
not the stin. The stin.
Anyway. There's other things, but they're not important until we get a little closer to them, so I'll leave them for later. Thank you guys for listening. Tune into the next one. The next month of episodes is going to be interesting because I might be traveling for a extended period of time, so that's something we get to discuss when the recording stops. So yeah, fun. All sorts of fun. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.
The time has come for us to say sayonara. My heart will always be yours for eternity.